Picture this. You're standing next to your brand new baby in intensive care. The monitors beep, the lights hum, and suddenly, a thin orange tube appears at the bedside. Nobody has asked you what you think yet. The nurse is gentle, the doctor is rushed, and your own voice? It feels like it never made it into the room. Also leave a mother feeling invisible. That's the big question behind brand new research from Hertfordshire, looking at tube feeding decisions for babies with Down syndrome. Here's the roadmap for the next 10 minutes. First, we'll unpack what the study uncovered. Then, we'll hear exactly how those moments of silence ripple out after discharge. Finally, we'll talk about what could change and what you, as a parent or professional, can do right now. Sound good? Let's dive in. Section 1. The first tube. Imagine the scene is still day 1. For many mothers in the study, that very first nasogastric NG tube doesn't land as an option. It lands as a done deal. 1 minute they're learning how to hold a baby whose future already feels medicalized. The next, a tube is threaded in, almost as routinely as taking a temperature. Consent feels assumed, not explored. One mom put it like this: being on a nighttime train. She could sense the motion, feel every jolt, but the carriage windows were black. She couldn't see the route, read the signals, or talk to the driver. Decisions happened around her, not with her, and the emotional bruise stayed long after the hospital wristband came off. Section 2. Quiet exclusions. The Hertfordshire team didn't find one explosive moment of neglect. Instead, they found a pattern of quiet exclusions. Think ward rounds that feel like software updates, fast, technical, and without a restart button for questions. Some mothers signed forms while still foggy from birth. Others were congratulated for coping well when inside they felt anything but. Here's the kicker. Every statistic, weight charts, oxygen levels, calorie counts, was shared. What was missing was the meaning behind those numbers. Why this plan? Why now? What other routes could we try? Too often, the answers floated past in corridor chatter rather than in calm, eye-level conversations. So mothers end up with double vision, physically present in the report, 2 mothers to do. So what is it seems Goni Brieger? Some of the mothers actually doing it, and physical tube for the temperature and find the most better to next. So mothers ended up with double vision, for in giving the practices of ready. The next people know they does that often her without for thread. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. 2 together, they show your leffing to culture of your life. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So unmores to tell you that you should replace the top of enjoys. No, of the top of you should never find. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. So mothers ended up with double vision and n-minute states force. The next people know was the accidentally vil thing as well as making an impacted. The ultimate notes has nothing to tell the time, particular desires with more eternity. The type of Lee, the Dr. Tube Lieb of these as a different. The most of course of song for hair, you can find more of a way in factored. The date of many predictions, when gotten any part of the best forms and if hitting the more successed. And let's the same you, is credit and certainly. The details were tweet imitable involved in the program to go that normal of these conductions, which makes achieve to beginning to there. So you can see all the next to the study as will happen to reflect, which makes it lang to beginning to one of. The job sense accreditly still, the vision, physically present for every decision, yet always one step behind, intellectually and emotionally. Section 3. Tone is everything. Now, let's get specific. The study showed that the tone of the conversation shaped the entire journey. When staff framed tube placement as just what we do, any hesitation from parents got labeled as anxiety or ignorance. But, and this is huge, in the rare moments a clinician paused to ask, "What are you most worried about?" everything shifted. Same tube, same risks, different meaning. Parents could thread the clinical plan through their own hopes and fears instead of feeling tucked inside an invisible protocol. Section 4. The training gap. Why does this keep happening? 2 words, training and time. Junior staff felt rock solid on the technical steps. Measure, insert, tape, check. Explaining the rationale, risks, and alternatives? That was framed as extra credit, something you squeeze in after the real work. The mothers, however, saw those talks as the real work. The moment they could reclaim a bit of agency after a pregnancy and birth that had already gone off script. Remember the smartphone analogy from one participant? She said getting that NG tube was like being handed a brand new phone that's already switched on, set to an unfamiliar language, and linked to unknown accounts. Powerful? Sure. Necessary? Probably. But no one walked her through the settings. Families need to tap through those menus and ask, "Hey, what does this button do?" That's not a luxury. It's central to trusting the care team. Section 5. Speaking up and hitting hold. Let's move forward in the timeline. Some mothers tried to speak up. They asked, "How long will the tube stay? What will progress look like? What if we hit a setback?" Polite answers arrived, and then the line went dead, like a call placed on eternal hold. New plans appeared, almost like updated terms and conditions nobody had agreed to. That uncertainty followed them home.
Tiny choices. How should I position the baby? Does this cough matter? Felt enormous because they weren't sure which worries were normal and which were red flags. Mothers who had received clear teaching and written plans told a very different story. Less late-night Googling, more midnight sleeping, and a calmer hand when real alarms did ring. Section 6. A different way forward. The takeaway? Feeding plans don't have to be rigid scripts. They can be co-written drafts. Picture sitting down with the team and sketching 3 routes: best case, plan B, and the what-if detour. Revisit them whenever the road bends. It's like mapping several paths through a city instead of sticking to one sat-nav line. When a detour comes up, nobody feels they failed. Everyone just shifts together. If services take this seriously, future wards could feel less like checkpoints and more like campfires, places where questions and doubt get space to breathe. That means co-designed leaflets in plain language, rehearsal conversations before the big choices, follow-up calls that ask not just, "Is the tube staying in?" but, "Are you feeling carried or are you treading water alone?" Call to action. 3 questions for the week ahead. Before we wrap, let me leave you with 3 questions to chew on. 1. Have you been told, in plain words, the short and long-term pros and cons of tube feeding versus oral feeding for your child with Down syndrome? If not, what exact questions will you bring to your next appointment? 2. When tube feeding decisions were discussed, did you feel rushed, sidelined, or pressured? What single boundary, asking for a second meeting, requesting written info, bringing a support person, can help you stay in the driver's seat next time? 3. Finally, whose voice is missing from your support circle right now? Another parent with lived experience? A speech therapist? An advocate? What one realistic step can you take this week to connect with at least one of them? Let those sink in. Exceptional recap. So, here's what we covered today. First, many mothers meet that first NG tube as a foregone conclusion, not a shared decision. Second, a pattern of quiet exclusions, from rushed ward rounds to jargon-heavy updates, keeps parents one step behind the plan. Third, tone matters. A simple, "What worries you most?" can flip the whole experience. Fourth, the real training gap isn't the hands-on skill, it's the heart-to-heart conversation. And finally, feeding plans work best when they're living drafts, co-authored and revisited as babies grow. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Life-saving care and genuine partnership are not mutually exclusive. You deserve both. Ask the questions, claim your seat at the table, and keep rewriting the plan until it fits your child, your family, and your hopes. Thanks for listening. I'm home, and I'll see you next time. And hey, until then, may every conversation about your child's care start with you, not without you.